Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to read you this part about NK actually. So now I've went through this discovery a couple times, and like I said, I always find some details that I miss, so that's why I'm going through it again, because I'll just catch something, that I didn't see the first couple times. So I guess NK met with her new point of contact on September 4th. So she turns in this document where she basically documented all the events of, her relationship with Chris from 6/25 to 8/13. So, and I just don't remember that it was actually on September 4th, and that she came on September 4th and turned these documents in. I don't know. I guess I didn't realize that, or I don't even know if I realized that she did turn in like a written document of all the events. So, but then when I read through some of them, it's familiar with some of the stuff. Some of the stuff that's in there I remember reading, but okay. So, on 9/4/18 at approximately 1300 hours, so that's 1 p.m., I met with Nicole Kessinger at the CBI headquarters located at 690 Kipling Street, Lakewood, Colorado. I was introduced by CBI SA Kobach, who had interviewed her several times previous to my introduction. I advised Nicole that I am now her point of contact regarding this case, and that SA Kobach would attend other cases he was assigned to at CBI. Nicole acknowledged this information and presented me a 7-page typed document she generated containing notes of events she had recalled since her last meeting with SA Kobach. The events documented reportedly occurred between 6/25 through 8/13. I advised Nicole I would review the notes she provided me along with the reports and recordings from all the previous interviews and contact her with any follow-up questions I may have. Nicole acknowledged my statement, and our meeting ended shortly thereafter. SA Kobach agreed to complete a follow-up interview with Nicole's friend and provide me the reports. While at the CBI headquarters, I took custody of Nicole's cell phone, iPhone 6, which she had previously surrendered to SA Kobach. I placed the cell phone into evidence and entered the CBI chain of custody form into the case file. So wait, the iPhone... Oh, iPhone 6. Okay, so... Wasn't that time when she get the interview where... That wasn't the 4th, where... The interview where she gives him the phone to, try to run that program, the one that's on the video. What date is that? That's not the 4th. So they take her phone again? Because remember, they took it and they tried to run that, what is it called? Celebrate or whatever it's called. And then they said they really couldn't find anything, right? And then, so they take it again, or iPhone 6? Because the iPhone 6 is that's her old phone, right? Yeah. So did they just officially just take it? I mean, because remember they gave it back to her, I think, that day, but it sounds like this time they just took it, right? They placed it into evidence. Okay, so here is the report actually that NK gave to him. They document all the events of their basically relationship that NK turned into the investigator. Okay. So it says approximately 6:25 or 6:26. Okay, so she's not sure, either 6:25 or 6:26. So, June 25th or June 26th. Okay, in person, it says. Asked Chris when he and Shanann decided to separate. He told me late March, early April. So, yeah. That's a lie. I'm thinking that she's lying on that, because there's just other things that, that was said that make you think that she knew they weren't separating at the time, because I forget the exact words, but remember she asked him, well, is this the first time you ever, how does she word it? Is this the first time you ever strayed away? But I guess that's not really what I was thinking. But Remember, she also asked if it wasn't for me, would you still be separating? Or something like that, right? Well, I mean, but if she thought they really were already separating a couple months ago, why would you even think that, or even ask that? Like, oh, if it wasn't for me, then, I mean, you wouldn't, if you really believe that or really thought that, then you wouldn't even, that wouldn't even be a question, because of course then it's not for you, because they already talked about it months ago. But for her to have said that, like, to ask him, oh, if it wasn't for me, would you even have been separating from her? Shows you that she knew that they weren't already planning on separating a couple months before her. You know, because she was trying to say, like, well, is it me, or you just, you know, would you have done it anyway? But then wouldn't right there be saying, like, that she knew that it happened at the same time as her? Because if not, then why would it, that wouldn't even be a question, right? Because of course, no, it's not her then, because they were separating anyway before her. Do you see where I'm going on that? Okay. So I asked if he still lived with her, and he told me yes. Said that when she was home, he slept in a different room, and when she was gone, he would occasionally sleep in the master bedroom, but not frequently because the bed was uncomfortable. I asked why he had decided to separate from Shanann. He told her that Shanann was bossy. I asked what he meant by bossy. Chris responded that she was controlling. Said that they really don't argue much, though. Said that once, many years ago, he attempted to stand his ground with her, and she told him, get out of my house, and made him leave for a night. I don't know if I buy that. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think that really happened? That, you know, one time he tried to, you know, stand his ground, and she told him, get out of my house, and made him leave for a night? I don't know if I believe that. Okay, so Chris said he tried to avoid arguments ever since then. Okay, so he's trying to say, you know, like, there's one time that, you know, she made me leave for a night, so now, you know, when I actually try to stick up for myself, now I don't even argue or disagree or stand my ground. I just give in to her because, you know, just give in to her. She's, you know, going to kick me out and not going to let me stay there. I don't know. I just have trouble believing it. They got into one argument, and when he tried to stand his ground, and then she just said, get out of her house. I just don't see that. But of course, I wasn't there. I don't know for sure. It just doesn't seem like, does it seem like, knowing everything that we know, that's something that she would do? You know, I mean, maybe it was more than just like he tried to stand his ground. I mean, maybe it was like a huge argument, and you know, that she made him leave or whatever. But like, really, was it just him trying to stand his ground with her, and she told him to leave? I don't see it like that. I mean, I don't see that she would do that just for him trying to like stand his ground or whatever. But so now he tries to avoid arguments ever since then. But said that now if him and Shanann disagreed, she would make nasty comments to him and he would just ignore them. I asked if she talked like that in front of his kids. He said, yes, my kids started to repeat her words, and that is why I wanted the separation. No, the way you wanted the separation because of NK, you know? It had nothing to do with that. Because there was no talk of separation until he started that affair. Okay, so I asked him what he said to his kids when they repeated Shanann's words. Chris said he would tell his children that it was not nice to say that to anybody. I asked Chris if Shanann was bossy in front of his friends. Chris said that Shanann was all about appearances in all aspects of her life, and that in front of her friends she was occasionally bossy, but she would turn it into kind of a joke so that it was more discreet. I asked him how long the communication breakdown between them had been going on. Chris said 6 years, and that the last year or two were the worst. I asked him if he had tried to communicate to her how it made him feel when she said mean comments to him. He said he tried to talk to her many times, but it fell on deaf ears. I asked Chris if they had attempted to go to counseling to fix their problems, and Chris said no. Chris then said that some nights he would still, currently, hang out next to the bed in the master bedroom with her and would try to talk to her or spend time with her until she fell asleep. Chris tells me that the other reason he was separated is because Shanann hated that he liked to work out and eat healthy. I seriously doubt that. I mean, she wanted him to be healthy, and I don't know. I don't know if I believe that, because it seemed like she kind of, not kind of, but she wanted him to be healthy and live long, and I'm not sure. What do you guys think about that, as far as that she hated that he liked to work out and eat healthy? Because isn't she the one that got him into Thrive and being healthy? And I don't know. I mean, she loved him. Why would she hate for him to be healthier and live longer? And no, I just don't, I don't see that. Okay, she said that before they decided to separate, Shanann would get mad at him if he tried to go for a run at night once the kids were in bed. Said that Shanann felt it took away from time they should be spending together. So, yeah, but okay, he says that there, but remember there's sometimes where he says in some of the interviews that she was so busy with work and that she didn't make time for him, and she was always on her phone, and wouldn't talk to him or wouldn't make time. And so if that's true, then why would she get mad if he went for a run, if she was busy anyway and it took time away from them and they should be spending together? I mean, we know that's not true, because she even admitted she needed to start working on making time for them so she could spend more time with him. So I don't think that's, I don't know. I don't think I believe that, because she, it just kind of goes against what he says in other interviews. Chris said that it was frustrating because when he would try to hang out with her, she didn't pay attention to him and would talk on the phone and scroll through social media instead. So then why would she even get mad if when he tried to hang out, she didn't even hang out? What? That doesn't make sense. Oh no, you can't go run. You got to hang out with me, but then I'm not going to hang out with you. See, I don't know if I don't think I believe Chris that that's how that happened, because that doesn't even really make sense to me. So Chris said that many times he would try to talk to Shanann and she would not acknowledge him and instead would reply with, "Were you talking to me? Because I wasn't listening to you." I could see that maybe possibly happening. I mean, we've all done it. You're busy, or with work or whatever you're doing on your phone or on your computer, and because I wasn't listening. So somebody's talking to you and you're on your computer, and then somebody says, what do you think, or whatever, and you're just like, what? Oh, were you talking to me? I wasn't listening. You don't realize that somebody was whoever it was, if it's your boyfriend or girlfriend or your family or whatever, and you just get caught up with whatever you're doing, and you don't even realize they're talking to you. That happens all the time. I mean, and that's why she was trying to work on it. That's what she said she's going to try to set aside time for family. She knew that was one of her, the things she had to work on, and she was going to work on it, So, yeah. Chris told me that Shanann had asked him numerous times to take pictures of them pretending to run together so that she could post them on social media, but she wouldn't actually go for a run with him. Maybe that happened. People do it all the time, make it look like they're doing something, or they have happier lives than they really do, or they like this, or that happens. It does. It's the The way social media is these days is not that unheard of. Okay, said he started waking up early to lift weights because it was something he did every day and he didn't want his routine to interfere with his time with his kiddos. Said his health was important to him and he wished that she would have been supportive and not upset. I just don't think she was upset about his health, like about him, eating good or working out. I just don't see that. Okay, so now this is NK's document of the days. So now she has approximately 6/27. So approximately June 27th. It says, in person, Chris Watts brings condoms to my house. One box is full and unopened. The second is a set of condoms from a partially used box. I asked Chris why he has a set of partially used condoms. Chris informs me that the condoms he has are from back when he was still having sex with his wife. Told me they had been sitting in the closet collecting dust and that Shanann probably did not even know they were still there. Asked him why him and Shanann used to use condoms. Chris informed me that Shanann didn't like to get messy. I was curious, so I looked up the expiration date on the condoms and noted that the unopened set expired in late 2022 and the open set expired in early 2023. I looked up the lifespan of an unopened condom and discovered it was approximately 5 years. Based on my research, I assume these condoms were manufactured in late 2017 and early 2018. So, I mean, what is she saying? So, manufactured in late 2000. Okay, so let's say January 2018. So, I don't understand what her point is. She's saying that, so like a half a box of condoms. I don't know. Is she trying to prove that they're not having sex anymore? Or like how long ago they had sex? I mean, because even if it was manufactured, let's say January 2018, it doesn't mean that they bought them right then when they were manufactured. And still, if he said collecting dust, it would have had been some months. So, I don't know. It doesn't add up, really. If you think about it, it almost seems like it wouldn't match up with his story of them the last time they're having sex in May, or is that what he said? Or I forget what he told her now, but I don't know. I mean, it's still, you really still can't tell because you don't know. Oh, okay. Well, he said they separate. He told me late March, early April. So maybe they were having sex for like a little, or maybe over 3 months with the condoms, or half a box. I don't know what she figured out on that, but okay. So on or shortly after 7/4. So the big 4th of July date that, we all know is, we're getting conflicting stories, but okay. So in person, I complimented his home as being very beautiful. So remember, this is the date she was there. She said she was there, but his story, remember he starts off with, like, has she ever been to your house? And he starts off by saying July 4th and going into the story, but when they say, she was at your house? No, we were at her house. But why, when they asked, that was when he started talking about it, about her being at his house. And that's kind of when he started bringing up July 4th. But then his story, he made it seem like they were at her house. So it just doesn't make sense. But anyway, so in person, I complimented his home as being very beautiful. Chris said that he had always wanted a smaller ranch-style home. Chris said that Shanann insisted on a big house because she liked to throw parties and make it look like they had everything. I asked him what type of parties he was referring to. Chris shook his head left and right and said, just expensive parties. Chris then tells me that they had the house built, and the only part of the design that he had any say in was the stonework and the paint color on the exterior of the house. Chris said his mortgage was $2,800 a month and he was tired of being house broke. I asked why it was so expensive. He said about $500 of the $2,800 was homeowners insurance. Went to his house to drop him off after we visited the Shelby Mustang Museum in Boulder. While at his house, I felt uncomfortable, as if I did not belong there. July 14th, 2018. Okay, so in person, went to his house to drop him off after we visited the Shelby Mustang Museum in Boulder. While at his house, I felt uncomfortable, as if I did not belong there. Well, maybe because you didn't belong there. It's not your house. It's, you're breaking up the family that lives in that house. You're breaking up a family that calls that house their home. So yeah, you should feel uncomfortable there, really. He had built a beautiful life, and it made me think that there was still a chance for him to fix things with his wife. I told him that I did not think it was fair to Shanann or to me that he was trying to live two lives by being in a relationship with both of us at the same time. Wait now. Didn't you say that, you thought he was separating, right? Around March or April, they decided to separate, and you said before you started talking to him that he told you they were separated. So how are you going to say that I don't think it's fair to Shanann or to me that he was trying to live two lives by being in a relationship with both of us at the same time? Now, this is the document that she turned into the investigators. So, she's not... I don't understand. Like, all those other interviews, it's like, no, they're separated. That's what he told me. I thought they were separated. Well, how are you going to write that then if you really think that? I said that I think he either needed to fix things with her and let me go, or he needed to move towards trying to finalize his divorce. I told him that I thought his problems with Shanann were fixable and that he should focus on trying to rekindle the relationship that they had before giving up. He said that Shanann was set on separating and that he was too. He said that when Shanann wants something, she gets her way. I told him I did not understand why they hadn't completed the divorce after all these months if they were both so adamant about it. If she wanted it as bad as he stated, I did not understand why it seemed stagnant. So if you were questioning that, then why did you go through with the affair? Like why didn't you end it there? If you were seeing like, wait a minute, something's not right, obviously there's no movement in this separation, so maybe he's lying. So why didn't you kind of put two and two together then? I know you could probably say it just happened so quick and there, you eventually did. It just took you this long too. Okay, maybe, but it just seems like she did maybe know that he wasn't telling the truth. I don't know, because he's saying that she knew that he didn't say that they were separated when they first met each other. That he said that he was married, and she's saying that right when they met that he did tell her they were separate. They were separated in March or April. They were talking about separating. But he's telling a different story. He's saying, oh no, when we first met, she knew I was married. So I don't know. They're both liars. So who's telling the truth on this one? Maybe they're both telling half truths. Maybe he said, they were, not getting along. Things haven't been good in our marriage. And that he actually hadn't talked to her yet about it, but that it wasn't good, and he thought, she, what I'm saying? Like if he was saying like, oh, our marriage hasn't been good for years or whatever, so, she has to know, why she can't not know. I'm talking about Shanann, like maybe this is what he tells NK. She can't not know, that this isn't good, so she has to feel the same way. We don't have no connection, so, I'm going to talk to her about it. Yeah, and then, so they're both kind of telling the truth, kind of lying, really. I don't even know if this is what's going on, but I'm just saying, like, usually the truth is always somewhere in the middle, So maybe it's not completely how she says it, but not completely how he says it. So, and then, so, I don't know. I mean, so that would fall a little bit, make more sense of why she said, if it wasn't for me, would you really be separating? Because, I mean, maybe he said that to her, and then, and then he said, okay, I am going to talk to her now. And, we had a talk in North Carolina, which they really did. So then maybe that's when she was doubting, like, man, if it wasn't for me, would you actually really even have went through with talking to her about it? I mean, that can make sense, I guess, that. But, I mean, we're never going to know. We're never going to know the complete truth. At this moment, I realized that he might be lying to me about his separation, so I started quizzing him on things he had told me earlier. Asked him when was the last time he was intimate with his wife. Okay, so, because, usually if you're lying, it's so much harder to keep your lies straight than, I mean, the truth you don't have to keep straight. The truth is the truth. But when people get so far into lies, I mean, it's too hard to keep each lie, straight. You got to remember every lie you tell. And when somebody like Chris is telling so many lies, so basically she was trying to catch him in a lie, or, making sure that he wasn't lying. So she said she started quizzing him. When was the last time he was with his wife, to see if he says the same thing every time. Because if it was the truth, it would just be one answer. You don't have to think about it, because that's what it is, But if it's a lie, you got to remember, what did I say last time? What did I say last time? But anyway, so Chris told me that the last time he and Shanann had sex was in May, but had told me on an earlier date that the two had not been intimate since March or early April. So, I think the reason, he told me that day, the reason why he couldn't say March or April, because he knew, if he was thinking, man, I'm starting to get kind of serious about her, so she's gonna find out about Shanann being pregnant, and when was Nico conceived was in May, so he had to say May, because she's gonna find out. And I think he wanted to try to work, end up being with NK, before he thought of this new plan of just taking out his whole family. But at that time, what date was that? So she's saying that was like on the 14th. So on the 14th is when he told her. So now they've already been, real close for a couple weeks hanging out. So now he's, starting to think, oh, this could be something serious. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's starting to get these strong feelings for her, maybe. I mean, I don't know. But something that he knew, maybe this is going to go on after, whatever happens. So she's going to find out about Nico. So I better say May, and then hopefully she's probably thinking like, oh, shoot, I hope she doesn't remember that I said March or April last time. Or could it be just because he forgot that he lied, or what he told her and then said May? But I don't know. I'm just thinking like he knew, like, shoot, she's going to find out about Shanann being pregnant and that Nico was conceived in May, so I better tell her, just say May. I asked Chris if he used protection when he slept with her, because he stated on an earlier date that he used condoms when they had sex. He told me that he had not used protection. See, covering his butt again, because when she finds out now, because he knows it's only a matter of time, she's going to find out. And so now it's like he's kind of covered his tracks. Like, okay, so now she knows that we had sex in May, and she knows that we didn't use protection. So when she finds out that, Shanann's pregnant, maybe she'll still stay with me. I asked him if he was lying about his separation, and Chris said no. So, oh yeah. Okay. I asked him if he was actively trying to have a child with Shanann since they had unprotected sex, and he said no. So, I mean, was she already thinking? I mean, to ask those questions about a child, and it's like, was she already kind of thinking, that she was pregnant? Or, like I said, that would have been July, so she would have already, announced it. Wasn't that after the whole Facebook video? Wasn't that around the 14th or 15th? I'm trying to think what date that was. I have to go back, but it was close to that date. And even before that, if Shanann was, did she say anything about it on Facebook? I'm just trying to think, like, could she have already known about her being pregnant when she's asking these things to Chris? Already looked at Facebook, didn't tell him, but already saw what, Shanann saying that, and then just kind of like get the truth out of Chris, saying, oh, wait, are you trying to have a baby? Just to see if he would tell her the truth. I'm not sure. I have to go back to see when that video, when she finally, because I guess now that I'm thinking about it, that video with her, that oops, we did it again, that she posted on Facebook, that was probably the first time that everybody knew, because, she wouldn't have wanted to tell. Yeah, because that was the first time Chris, yeah, so when was that? That's what I need to find out, because that means then Chris would already have known. It would have been on Facebook, so NK could have possibly have known by then. I asked him if he was actively trying to have a child with Shanann since they had unprotected sex, and he said no. I left the house. Okay, so then on approximately 7:15, so the next day, and it says continued from above conversation. So this is a text and person. So this is going to be, some of the stuff's going to be in text and some going to be in person. Okay, so he tells me that he still wants a separation, but this time he states it's because he has never met anyone like me. So, see, he still wants it. So that's, he's saying, if he was telling her that he was getting separated anyway, but now he's saying because he's never met anyone like her, I don't know. I told him that he better not be doing this for me, and that he needs to be leaving his current situation because it is what he and her both felt is the best for their kids and for themselves. Oh, so she's saying, okay, because it is what he, so he's saying, you better not be leaving for me, but it better be because it's what, you and Shanann think is best for the kids and themselves. So she's acting like she's this morally, good person. Oh, don't be doing it for me, but make sure, this is just you and Shanann are doing it for what's best for both of you and for the kids. I call bull. Like, I don't believe that she cares, and that's even what she said. I don't believe that's even what she told him. Okay. We spoke over the next several days and spent a little time together, but I did not want to be intimate with him. I kept telling him that I thought he really needed to fix things with her and to not worry about building a relationship with me anymore. I told him I had been asked out on 2 dates since I had known him, and that I didn't go on either one, and that I was stood up. I told him that he took the respect and trust from our relationship because I felt like he was lying. So I think she's trying to make him a little jealous, saying, I was asked out on 2 dates. I think it's like almost trying to get him to, hurry up and make a decision. Like, listen, I have other interested people. Like, if you don't hurry up and leave your wife and pick me, I have other people that are interested. So I feel like it was almost like to kind of make him jealous and to kind of force him to make a move. Like, come on. If you want me, you got to take me now, or somebody else is going to. I think that's what that was all about. And then this next part, I think, let me read it. It says, we attempt to have sex 4 times that evening, and he seems mentally interested, but physically cannot perform. And I think that's because what she just told him. Like, she just told him, I had 2 other dates. People asked me out. 2 people asked me out. So I think he's just almost feeling probably, jealous for one thing, worried, probably like, oh my God, what am I going to do? Because, realizing, it's not going to be just that easy to just leave Shanann and the kids, but if I don't do that, then she's probably going to find somebody else. I feel like before that, he's thinking, oh no, I could have my cake and eat it too. That saying, like, I could have Shanann and my family and just have her too, and like not have to worry about, not that I know he didn't want his family and Shanann, once he found somebody else, he just and he was gonna just move on, and like they were nothing. I know that, but what I'm saying is, I feel like if he thought that he could, he would have just kind of did what he was doing for as long as he, the NK would let him, because I think he was just, how am I trying to say it? I feel like it was like more like fear, like, because he's such a wimp that he didn't want to actually, make that move and tell Shanann, okay, I'm out, to actually go on his own. Number one, financially, have to, that means he's going to have to find his own place, pay his own bills, to take on some responsibilities that he hasn't had, because Shanann was taking, doing Shanann was taking care of everything. So, like, he doesn't want to have to face reality and be like, oh, shoot. Once he really leaves her, then he's got to go find a place. He's got to make sure his bills are paid. He's got to be the one to go do everything, And so he's probably like thinking, shoot, he would have. I don't know. I'm trying to explain this, but I'm just thinking, like, if he thought that he could just keep going the way he was going, where it's just having an affair and still being with Shanann and the girls, I'm not saying because, he's still loved them or whatever, but it's more like, so he didn't have to worry about being responsible. So he could just kind of sleep in the basement, or maybe once in a while sleep up there with her, whatever, and then go have his fun with NK and still not have to worry about the bills or being responsible, or, just being a man, and, where he could just do what he's doing and have the affair and keep telling, if NK would keep believing him, like, oh, we're separating, and just kind of push it off as long as he can by just having his good time, and not taking any responsibility, and, going on vacations with Shanann and whatever. But I just think it just hit him when when NK's like saying, listen, I have two guys that asked me out. I think that night I probably hit him like, wait a minute, if I don't make a move, I'm going to lose her. And he wasn't really mentally, I feel like, yeah, he was talking about like separating to NK and talking about it, but I don't think he was actually mentally, I don't think he was actually preparing and really thinking that that was something he had to do, like, very soon, Because even with, they were talking about selling their house, but if you look, it's like he's almost talking about downsizing, but when he's talking to Shanann, it's like downsizing, but still living with her. So, I don't know. I think she just, when NK said, hey, listen, I have people interested, and it just made him realize, so shoot, I either have to actually go through with this, and a lot of change coming, like I gotta start being responsible, and I have to confront Shanann and tell her what's going on, and actually, go through with all of this. So he couldn't perform physically, it was probably all this thoughts going through his head, and that plus the jealousy of a couple guys, asking her out, and knowing he had to make a move, he had to be a man and actually do something and make a choice, and or he was going to lose her. So that's what I'm thinking, maybe why he couldn't perform, because he doesn't make choice. He always had the women in his life make his choices, but now he had to actually do it. He had to follow through, make a choice, follow through on something, like actually do something, and then it would make, and then the responsibility that comes with all that, because like I said, he went to work and stuff, but he didn't have to worry about the bills. I know, like, they were bankrupt, and but the thing is he still didn't have to worry. He just basically gives Shanann the check, and then she took care of everything, you know? So he didn't have to really think about that, you know? And now, you know, he's realizing, shoot, my life's about to change. So I asked him what the problem was several times, and he kept telling me that nothing was wrong. I told him that he was quiet that day, and it seemed like he had something on his mind. I asked him if what was bothering him had to do with the convo that occurred the previous weekend. Chris said yes. He told me that initially he was mad that I had been asked out on dates, but then felt that he couldn't be mad because that would make him a hypocrite. Said what was really bothering him was that I kept asking him to try to fix things with Shanann. Okay, see, I guess I spoke too soon. So I wasn't even thinking about that. If that really, I don't know if I fully believe that NK did tell Chris to fix things with Shanann. But maybe that could be another one of her manipulations where she did tell him that. But that was almost like a way to get him to choose too. If you think about it, like, because she knew that, you know, she kind of had him on a leash, like he said, and that she, you know, he would do anything for her. And she's even made remarks like she knew, like, he was like hooked on her, you know. So I'm thinking, like, by him saying, oh, go fix things with Shanann, you know, it was like an actual a manipulation. Like, she didn't really want him to go fix things with Shanann. Like, I think it was, she was telling him that, hoping and knowing that he would probably look at that. So number one, in the same conversation, fix things with Shanann, and also, oh, I've been asked out a couple times. So that's gonna make him, you know, feel like he has to act quick, because number one, it's showing him, you know, other people are interested in her, and shoot, she can move on. And then number two, it's saying, like, wow, you know, she's telling me to fix things with Shanann, like, what about us? Like, you know, and it's almost like, if you think about it, then that would get him to be like, instead of like where he is now, where he's like, oh yeah, yeah, and he's just real stagnant, like she said. Where if she didn't really say that, it would just keep on going like that. But the fact that she says, go fix things with Shanann, then it's making him think, well, wait a minute, what about us, you know? And so either he has to, you know, he can't just sit there and do nothing. So either it's going to be like he's fixing things with Shanann, or he has to completely end them. Chris told me that he would attempt to fix things with her when he was in North Carolina, and that he didn't want to talk about it anymore while he was home. See, yeah, he wanted her, you know, because that's not what he wants to hear. Like, for her to say, oh yeah, fix things with Shanann, because then that's just telling him, like, oh yeah, that it doesn't bother me, go ahead, you know. And it's, so he didn't want to hear that. Like, he wanted to hear her saying, you know, no, don't be with her, be with me. But the thing is she was doing a little manipulation, I feel like she didn't really want him to fix things with Shanann. She was just telling him that, hoping that would get him to choose that, you know. Like, that mixed with her saying that, oh, I had two guys interested in me, you know, so that it kind of like tells him, oh shoot, you know, somebody else could get her. Like, she got guys interested in her, you know, now she's kind of like almost distancing herself, saying, oh yeah, go fix it with Shanann, acting like she's not as attached to him as she really is, you know, like, oh, don't bother me, you guys are so beautiful, go ahead, like, kind of act like, oh, I don't care, you know. And that's making him feel like, oh shoot, he needs to act quicker, he needs to, you know, make that choice and show her that he's serious, like, nobody, you know, so nobody else gets her, and to show her, you know, that he's ending it with Shanann, or, you know, he feels like he's going to lose her, I feel like. So I feel like that was what made him, you know, finally actually talk to Shanann about it. Because who knows if she wouldn't have played these, you know, did these little mind games with him, if she didn't even say that to him, and, or, you know, whatever, however they talked. But he just went to North Carolina, and she didn't say about the two guys that are interested, or to fix things with Shanann. Let's say she just he just went to North Carolina. Would he have even said anything to Shanann about separating, or would he just been acting kind of weird but not have said anything? I feel like that what NK did made him feel like he had to make that move quick, and look at the stupidity of his plan to, ended up making the, I don't even know how he came to that decision. Wow, let's just take out my family. This shows you when somebody like that is left to their own choices is not very good. So yeah, so he went and talked to her, and told her, he wanted to separate Shanann. Because, and I think that was her whole point. That was exactly what NK wanted. By doing that. By telling him, go fix things with Shanann, and by telling him that there was, a couple guys that were interested in her, basically. That made him move fast. That made him actually make a move. And I think that was her whole point. I really do. I think that was exactly her intention when she did this, when she said that to Chris. Okay, so Chris told me that he would attempt to fix things with her when he was in North Carolina, and that he didn't want to talk about it anymore while he was home. The sex from then on for the rest of the relationship was greatly reduced from 3 to 4 times daily to 1 or maybe 2 times, and it was not as intimate when it occurred. Sex no longer happened every day we hung out, but was still very frequent. Okay, so then it says, conversations while Chris was in North Carolina on the phone. Chris tells me that he had a conversation with his buddy Mark, who lives in San Diego. Says Mark informed him that many years ago he believes that Shanann was responsible for a large amount of money that was embezzled from a company that Shanann and Mark both worked for at the time, but that company was never able to prove who did it. Huh. I don't know. So Chris and Mark are having this conversation. Okay. And then Chris tells NK about this. So do you think that's the first time Chris even heard about that? Like, Mark just told him when he was in North Carolina, like, he's with her for how many years, and he never heard about that before that? Oh, I don't know. Okay, so Wednesday, 8/8. So August 8th, in person, Chris stops by the Frederick Toyota dealership to pick up an order of touch-up paint and windshield wipers for my vehicle after he gets off. I pre-ordered the paint several weeks earlier. He brings them to my house sometime between 3 and 4:30 p.m. that day. And Wednesday is that day. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that Wednesday 8/8 is the day of the ultrasound, when he is late coming home after work. Remember, he gets home late. Nicole Atkinson's there to watch the kids. He gets home, kind of late, and they're waiting. And Nicole said he doesn't even say hi to her. He doesn't acknowledge her. He's kind of, in a bad mood. And, he gets home. It seems like he doesn't want to go, maybe. And, yeah, she said he always would acknowledge her, even give her a hug sometimes, but didn't even acknowledge her. Just real cold towards her. So I'm pretty sure that's that day. So and that's why he's late coming home from work. He goes to NK's house after work, gets her this paint, and we goes to the Toyota dealership. And then, so he brings him to my house sometime between 3 and 4:30. Okay. So, he brings it over, and then I feel like in another interview it says how, I think NK says how she actually has to tell him, you better get home to see your kids. Isn't that the day where she kind of rushes him out of there? You better go spend time with your kids or whatever. So I wonder if he would even have showed up for that ultrasound. Because what if she wouldn't have said that? Would he have stayed even later, and then she would have totally missed that ultrasound? you know? I have to find that interview. I'm pretty sure it's that day where she's like, after he brings the paint, and she's like, she told, kind of rushed him out, like, oh, you go spend time with your kids. But little did she know, or did she know? I don't know, but that they were waiting on him to go to the ultrasound appointment for Nico. So, I don't think he even wanted to go. Then he gets home, he's grumpy, he doesn't say hi to Nicole, he's late, and so that's where he was. Okay, so Saturday, 8/11, in person, Chris told me he didn't have any extra money for a deposit on an apartment. I told him that apartments nowadays were so expensive for rent that the damage deposits have to be fairly cheap because otherwise people can't afford moving costs. He said that every time he got paid, he just watched his bank account dwindle down. Said he wished he had a way to prevent his disposable income from being spent. I told him that it is possible to divide paychecks into multiple bank accounts, but that if he considered doing that, he would need to make sure he was responsible and that his mortgage and kids and his standard monthly bills were covered first. So, what she's telling him to divide paychecks into multiple bank accounts. Is it like she's trying to tell him to hide money from her, you think? Is that what she's saying? Or is she just saying divide pay into... Wait, but if he considered doing that, he would need to make sure he was... Standard monthly bills were covered first. Wait. I think she just added that in for this report, this document, that end. She probably just said to him, I told him that it's possible to divide paychecks into multiple bank accounts. And I bet you this last part, she probably really didn't even say this part, but had to add it in for this document, that she's given to the investigators to make herself look good. But that part where it says, but that if he considered doing that, he would need to make sure he was responsible and that his mortgage and kids and his standard monthly bills were covered first. I don't know. I doubt she even actually really said that last part, but I believe she did probably try to get him to get multiple bank accounts to try to hide the money from her. And then when child support type thing, if he would get a divorce and then child support, maybe it would, well, you can't really hide your money from that, but I don't know. It sounds like she's trying to find a way to kind of screw Shanann, really. I told him that if Shanann ever wanted child support, he would still be required by law to show proof of that income, even if it was in a second account. Okay, that's what I was saying. They would know that. So I suggested that if he decided to do that, perhaps just contribute a small amount that wouldn't impact his current living situation, but would give him a cushion for the first month's bills when he transitioned to an apartment. But that was his discretion. Okay, so Monday, 8/13, continued from above conversation, text or phone, suggested the bank account idea again after he told me that he thought Shanann was gone for the night at a friend's house. See, gosh, she even suggested it after they were missing about the bank account. See, I think she was the reason she turned that in and said that, she's trying to cover her butt because she was worried maybe that they would retrieve some texts where she actually said that, which it doesn't look like they were able to get the text, whether they did just to release them or whatever, I don't know. But she was probably still worried that maybe they were going to be able to get those texts, and it was talking about bank accounts and her talking about, getting another telling him about getting another bank account and probably some shady stuff, and she had to make sure that she was covered, like that, act like, oh, well, no, yeah, this is what we were talking about. So if you see those texts about bank accounts, then, this is why I brought it up. Do you think, maybe? Because obviously there was a ton of texts that never got retrieved, okay? So what were in those texts? And she's saying on 8/13, this was a text. Okay, so talking about bank accounts and nice friend's house. So and then asked him if any money was missing from their bank account, and Chris said no. But so it's like almost like she's trying to cover it in case they do find the text. They'll be like, oh, okay, well then it was just about this, when it actually could have been about something more sneaky. I don't know. It could have been about something, more sinister or whatever, and she just wanted to make it seem like, oh, when they find it, if they find these retrieved texts, because she wasn't sure, nobody was sure, if they're going to be able to find it. So just in case, where they're not going to be like, what are you talking about, a bank account? She has her butt covered. Oh, this is what I meant right here. We're talking about it for, just so he could save money for his apartment or whatever. But okay, so Tuesday 8/14 continued from above conversation. Chris told me he opened up a second bank account so he could start saving money for an apartment. Wow, so he opened one up on Tuesday when all this was going on? Is that true? That's crazy. I don't know if that's true, if he really did or not, or if he was just telling her he did. Okay, so now she goes back to on Monday again. So on Monday, 8/13, Chris informs me his family is gone and asks me to call him when I have a chance. When I called Chris, he informed me that the cops were at his house and that he would need to call me back. I was unaware that his wife had missed a doctor's appointment, or that his kids missed school that day, or that a friend had tried to contact her and couldn't, or that he tried to call her and didn't get a response, or that friend had stopped by the house earlier to check on her. So she's saying she was unaware of all of that. Okay, I asked him why the cops were there. Chris informed me that Shania's friend Nicole had called them. Chris says that the media are arriving. I was confused and asked him, why are they there? Chris tells me that Nicole called the media. I asked Chris why he believed Nicole would call the cops and the media. He said Nicole wasn't being very nice to him. Oh, Chris. Oh, she wasn't being very nice. I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry, but wow. Can you just hear him saying that to NK? Oh, well, Nicole's not being very nice to me. Oh, man. Okay, so he informed me that she was sitting in her car on the phone with Shanann's mom. Asked how Nicole knew Shanann's mom. And Chris informed me that Nicole used to work with Shanann's mom. I asked if he thought maybe Nicole was the friend that was helping Shanann get away for a day. Chris says no. Why would Nicole be helping Shanann if she's the one who called the cops? I suggested maybe it was to throw them off the trail. He did not agree. Chris asked me if he should talk to the media. I initially told him no, and then suggested that if he decided to speak to them, that maybe he could ask Shanann to bring his kids back. I was uncomfortable with him asking for my advice on the media, so I then asked him what his friends thought he should do about the media. Chris says that his friends believe that it would look bad if he didn't speak to the news, and thought that he should make a statement. Okay, so this is all phone stuff now. Now remember, this is I just don't know what to keep reminding you, but this is just still the same report that NK gave the cops on September 4th. She brought in these documents. Okay, so I asked Chris if the cops had attempted to search his friends' houses since he believed that Shanann had gone to stay with a friend. He told me no, they hadn't. I asked him why not, and he told me he didn't know why they hadn't. I asked him why Nicole did not like him. He said he wasn't sure. I asked Chris if Nicole was married and how well he knew Nicole and her husband. He informed me that he didn't know her husband hardly at all. I again suggested that maybe Nicole was the one who may be helping Shanann to hide out from him for a while. Chris said maybe, but he didn't really seem like he was entertaining the idea. I asked him if he thought she was with another man. Chris said it was possible, but he didn't think so. I asked if he thought his family was in danger. Chris said that if my kids are there with her, then they are safe. He never said he was worried or concerned about his family unless I prompted the question. Looking back on everything, I am so glad that Nicole showed up that day to check on her friend. Yeah, I don't buy that either. Okay, so on Monday, 8/13, it says phone. Chris says his home camera shows him leaving for work at 5:15 like usual that morning. Chris tells me that his home alarm system notified him that at 9:10 his garage door opened, but that he never received a notification on his phone that it closed again. At 9:10? I thought he said at 5:27 the garage door was open, and then another one like around noon when Nicole and her son were there. But at 9:10, maybe that was the first time that Nicole and them set it off. I don't know, because it says that at 9:10 his garage door opened, but he never received a notification on his phone that it closed again. I don't know. I just didn't remember that time. That's not the time that I heard. Unless that's just the extra time, because I know there was one at 5:27, and then one at like, wasn't it 12:10 or 12 something? I asked him if his garage was open when he got home from work that day, and he told me no. I asked Chris if he thought that Shanann left out of the garage at 9:10 that morning. He suggested that she either left out of the garage door or the back door, because there was no footage of her leaving from his front door camera. I asked Chris if there was any sign of forced entry, and he told me no. He told me he didn't want to keep talking about that subject and asked me to talk about something else. Wow. Okay, so that's that. That's the report the NK turned in to the investigators. All right, guys, so that's it for that. Let me know if you guys all heard that before. I know there's some of the details in there that I feel like the reason why some of it sounds familiar is because, well, number one, I probably did go through it before, because I did go through this discovery two times prior. But I think because some of this stuff is from her interview, some of the details that she talks about in her interviews too. But so she makes this, document, and this is what she gives him on September 4th. And there's that new point of contact, and then I couldn't find the name of who is her point of contact. It says it was Kobach, but then it's a new contact, and why does it not say? So, but do you wonder what she turns that in? Is there another interview, or is that it? It was on September 4th. She goes in at 1300 hours, so about 1 p.m. She meets her new point of contact, because Kobach's working on another case or something else. So I'm trying to find the name of the new contact, but I can't find it right now. But so wonder if they had another interview there. Do you think? Or did she just hand in that document? It's like, okay, so she went in and said, I'm the new, point of contact here. They introduced themselves. She gives them the 7-page type document. And then, okay, so he says, okay, I'll review it and contact you with any follow-up questions I may have. Okay. Oh, it says, Nicole acknowledged my statement and our meeting ended shortly after. Okay, so this is a quick read to complete the follow-up interview with Nicole's friend. Okay, so was it Charlotte, the follow-up interview with Nicole's friend? Right, complete the follow-up interview with Nicole's friend and provide me the reports. Or the gym that they just never released. I don't know. They might just be talking about that Charlotte girl that they did interview. So, I don't know. So, what do you guys think? Yeah, that's what I was going to say. So, do you guys... That's what I wanted to ask. I don't know if I even finished that sentence, but how many of you guys have read this or seen this, her document, her 7-page statement that she turned in? And did you learn anything new? Anything... Oh, wait a minute. Oh, no. If there's anything that was... I don't know. Not really, I guess. Nothing. Besides that 9:10 garage door open. I don't remember it being 9:10, but that could just be something I don't remember reading. I know there was a 12 one and a 5 one, but maybe I just, didn't know about the 9:10. But besides that, I don't know if there was anything really new in this, I would say. But, okay, so yeah, just let me know what you guys thought. Did you learn anything new in this document? Did you maybe catch something that was interesting that I might have missed going through it? I guess that was kind of interesting that Mark, like, Chris is acting like that Mark just told her about that embezzlement, and he just found that out, like, when he was home in North Carolina right then? It says Mark informed me. Okay, for which. I mean, it sounds like he's saying that Mark just told him that during that trip to North Carolina. So do you think Chris just really found out about that, or he knew about it and he's just pretending to NKO? Look, because he doesn't want to admit that he knew about that the whole time. If I mean, he's just pretending he just found that out. I'm not sure. And another thing, if you guys know this, I remember hearing, months ago about this touch-up paint that she talks about in here, and everybody kept saying red paint. It was red. It was red, and I even thought that, and I think just from hearing everybody, I thought that that I read it in the discovery that it was red, but I mean right here it doesn't say red, and I'm thinking maybe I just because I heard so many people say red, so if somebody just made that up, I'm not sure. And then in my head I thought I actually read red in the discovery, but it could. Maybe it is in discovery. I don't know. Right here it just says touch-up paint. Do you guys know, is it red? I mean, is it in the discovery somewhere that it's red? I haven't came across it again yet, or I don't know if I ever did see the red, or if it was just something that I thought I seen because everybody was saying red. But do you guys know if it is in the discovery about red touch-up paint, what page? Because that would be interesting, because her Toyota is white, so why would she need red touch-up paint? So if you guys know where I could find where it says red, leave a comment. Okay, so I think that's it. That's gonna be it for this video, and yeah, I will talk to you guys next time. Bye.